Look, I'm gonna be real with you. Amon is in a rough place right now. His power fist melee, clunky. His drones, nowhere near as good as Vex's minions. So yeah, slim pickings in what you can do. Now what's good everyone, it's Word here and don't worry, I've got your back. Now late game, Amon becomes an unkillable monster once he's geared. But you gotta get there first with your sanity intact. Luckily the Vengeance tree isn't completely useless, so I got something juicy. A big frosty buzz build that finally stopped me from banging my head against the table. Now as always, here's the full build on screen. Feel free to pause the video, take notes, subscribe. Who said that? It's not polite to ask them so early in the video. Anyway, where was I? Right. I do encourage you, however, to stick around because there's quite a few synergies that we need to go through, so let's get right into it. So what's the core philosophy behind this build? Now, I actually have a theory. I think Common struggles because everyone is trying to play around his action skill like you would with all the other Vault Hunters. But I play him as a fragger. So instead of forcing the action skill to do all the work and then one-shot everyone, I lean into what I think he's secretly cracked at. It's Ricochet and Cryo, baby, all day and night. This gives you crowd control and damage scaling that is baked into the kit. So let's have a look at the skills, the talent, and the gearing. Skills pack gearing. Anyway, I play him as a DPS. I told you I wasn't kidding. So what I want from my build is all about the Cryo affinity stacks to give him that extra layer of AoE DPS. So top part, free shit quick. Bottom part, use the stacks. Wrath of Nature, Cryo effectiveness, very good. Tail of the Comet, an extra layer of Cryo with Ordinance, very good. Bullet Hail, oh, sweet, sweet built-in Jacobs, very good. My augment of choice is Cryonic Trump because that gives me some survivability and a constant pausing AoE freezing. I like that a lot. Then of course we get Icy Rage so that anytime we kill something with cryo damage, whether it's gun or status, we get a stack. And we get Winter's Kiss so that when we do Ordnance damage, we use that stack. Karoming Shard, we're gonna put 3 points in there because Ricochet is good. And mind you, this stacks with Bullet Hail. So what happens is, you shoot your bullet, that ricochets, that becomes an elemental shard, and then that has a chance to ricochet. So, very strong. And of course, you're going to take Glacial Rapture because it is OP as fuck. Simple as that. But the rest of the points are going into Onslaughter. Heavy plate for shields, Veil the Storm for status effect damage and status effect duration, and then Bullet Storm because we're always shooting and we're always applying cryo. And then Metallurge because we're always shooting and we're always going to have the buff. Simple as that. Now, for the specialization, I would recommend that you're working towards Riddle you this and the best defense because those are going to be your strongest DPS options. 1 point into contamination is going to give you a really good chance of freezing with your crit. That's just going to be lovely. But everything else is standard DPS. If you need survivability, take sturdy stuff and downmount it out. They're very comfortable for your quality of life, especially if you're grinding. That's just good common sense. But let's look at the gearing, because there we have a couple of things that we need to talk about. So, the easiest way to use this pack is you have a cracked Malivan cryo gun and you kill people with it, or you kill things with it. Simple as that. If you shoot them with a cryo gun, you'll get a stack. But if they are fully frozen, you can kill them any means necessary and you still get a stack. So that leaves you some flexibility at least. Obviously for the modding, you should want to get something that either buffs your gun damage directly or that buffs your status ailments. So whether that's status duration, application or damage. All of them are good. Now, the one important thing is for the grenades. So both the Winter's Kiss and the Tail of the Comet, they tick and they get triggered by Ordinance damage. Now that Ordinance damage is not just the initial damage. So in this particular scenario on the screen, you'd get it on artillery payload and you get it on missile augment as well. So you'd be able to crank it out every single tick per second. When something gets hit by the artillery payload, you can use a stack of affinity if you have available. Very good and very slept on. Otherwise, you need to make sure that you have something that is on a reasonable cooldown so that you can always trigger it whenever you want to, and then you just manually trigger it with your grenade. Simple as that. The entire core gameplay loop is around freeze things, get the stacks, and then use the stacks with your grenades or with your ordnance. Simple as that. You have your shield, you can use it either as a defensive utility, you pull it out and then you can survive, or you can use it offensively, that you go on, jump into the middle of it, pop your ultimate, and then try to freeze everyone. Your choice. The only real weakness is, yeah, elemental ether enemies. They suck. Now, the good thing is that, like I said, there is some flexibility within the build, so if you have a high DPS Jacobs like everybody wants to have, you're going to be able to pop heads the old-fashioned way with some good old spit and elbow grease. So, the good thing is that by level 30, Amon isn't going to be a liability anymore. Your Cryo is going to Ricochet, you're going to have your Scourge Shield, and you're going to be able to pop everything with your Ordinance. And yes, this exact setup should transition perfectly into your endgame, especially once you start stacking some real status effect. Now, if you're running Amon or still struggling to make him click, try this build out and let me know in the comments if it fixes those early game pains. And if you want more crazy builds, leveling, or endgame grinding, make sure to sub because I got a whole lot more in the tank. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.